Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Sherrone Moore, this Michigan program picking up a massive commitment in the 2025 cycle, coming from four-star defensive lineman Jaylen Williams from the state of Illinois. And the Michigan fans who've been rocking with the fellas the last couple of weeks, we've talked about this kid extensively, being one of my favorite targets for this Michigan program in the 2025 cycle. And at the end of the day, you just want to bet on these kind of kids at 6'6", 265 pounds, a ton of length in the arms, big time athleticism for the frame, a guy that probably plays on the inside of the defensive line for Michigan as he gets to Ann Arbor, but a guy that gives you some versatility, can play off the edge, can play the three tech, kind of like Chris Jenkins did for a large part of his Michigan career. It's something Michigan values on the defensive line. And you have to give Coach Lou Esposito a ton of credit coming in as a guy that we knew could develop talent on the defensive line. I think we had the question mark of, can he recruit at the elite level at Michigan? He's certainly answering those questions on the defensive line, fired up to get into Jaylen Williams, dive into the film and talk about what he brings to this Michigan defense. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the Michigan fans. Y'all know I'm a Michigan fan, and the amount of support you guys have shown the boys, all the Go Blues in the comment section, that stuff fires me up. Can't thank you guys enough for the support. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And from these sound of things, we're going to have a lot of commitments to talk about over the next couple of weeks. And without further ado, let's get into Jaylen Williams. And I first want to start with something that we talk a lot about with Michigan on the recruiting trail, and that is prioritizing the right things. It is no secret to Sherrone Moore how this Michigan program has gotten to where it is right now, and that is prioritizing guys along the line of scrimmage at the high school ranks. And you take a look at what Michigan's doing in the 2025 cycle, the top commits to this Michigan program, Nate Marshall, Avery Gock, now Jaylen Williams, all line of scrimmage players. That's where it starts for this program. Sherrone Moore is not interested in the flash on the recruiting trail. He's interested in the substance and doing what he knows is best for this Michigan program. And I think he's doing a great job of it. And you get into Jaylen Williams, and you probably just want to talk about the raw athleticism for the frame that this kid has. You dive into the film, he's playing all over the defensive line and really just doing so many things well. And I think what excites most Michigan fans, this is a premier athlete that's very raw as a football player. I mean, you don't see a ton of nuance to his game. He's just dominating from an athletic standpoint. That's got to fire you up. That's how you want your recruits coming in on the defensive line. Hey, Lou Esposito, Wink Martindale, they're going to get Jaylen Williams right as a football player, but the stuff you can't teach, the length, the athleticism, the frame, Jaylen Williams is checking all the boxes in terms of the athletic profile you're looking for on the defensive line. And you'll notice the versatility as well. We kind of noted it at the top. Jaylen Williams, one, you look at what Wink Martindale wants to do, it's a lot of different looks, it's a lot of different fronts, and having the ability to have a guy like Jaylen Williams, who's probably going to be playing around 300 pounds as he gets in this Michigan program, be a guy that you can play on the inside of the defensive line, but also play him at the three tech, play him at the five if you want, because the athleticism is so special. It kind of a chess piece for Wink Martindale to get to work with on the defensive line. And you dive into the film and you kind of see what we're talking about with just the raw athleticism. First rep we're seeing right here, kind of head up on the left guard, gonna get unblocked and just kind of chase this play down from the backside. You're gonna see the functional athleticism when he gets in the backfield. I mean, this is a really fluid athlete for the size that you're gonna have. I'll say this, not blocking Jaylen Williams, probably not a good move. You see him working more as an edge rusher here in this circumstance, playing the run, getting off blocks. It does use his hands pretty well. And again, just kind of challenges offensive linemen with the athleticism and length that he has, getting off the block, making the play in the backfield, kind of just a game wrecker all over the defensive line at the high school ranks. Again, another really, again, a good example of being functional and being an athlete with the big frame that he has. Looking at that RPO, going out, you got a little toss there. He's going to go sideline to sideline. He's going to chase plays down along the line of scrimmage, rally to the football. Another thing that, I mean, you see a guy like Kenneth Grant do extremely well for Michigan. Talk about a big athlete that seems to be all over the field for his size. Jaylen Williams can do very, very similar things with the athleticism that he has, continuing to work to the film. You see just some kind of the raw power here. I mean, you talk about something that doesn't get enough talked about in terms of evaluating defensive linemen or edge rushers. What can they do against the run? And you look back at Michigan in 2023, guys like Jalen Harrell, guys that don't necessarily get a ton of limelight, but guys that were just so good against the run for so many years for Michigan. A guy like Jaylen Williams, very, very good against the run, getting off blocks, winning at the point of attack. A lot of value that Jaylen Williams brings to this Michigan defense in a lot of different facets. See a little bit of the motor here, being an athlete, running the line of scrimmage. I'm just a really big fan of the length, the size, the athleticism that Jaylen Williams kind of just puts together. And that is, I mean, you talk about him potentially playing edge. I mean, this is attacking the outside shoulder of the tackle, being an athlete, using some hands, and then running the corner, impacting the throw, getting into the backfield, just a ton of juice off the line of scrimmage. It's rare to find guys who are 6'6", 270 pounds move the way Jaylen Williams moves. And you take a look at what Michigan's doing in the 2025 cycle, only their sixth commitment of the cycle, but it's no surprise where Michigan's focusing their recruiting efforts, right? Nathaniel Marshall, top 100 national prospect, committed to Michigan on the defensive line, a guy in Avery Goddick, who I just think is going to be a multi-year starter, whether it's at tackle or guard for Michigan. Now you add Jaylen Williams. It's no secret why Michigan has had the success they've had. They recruit the line of scrimmage just about as good as anybody in the country, and they get those guys developed. You're seeing the emphasis for this Michigan program, recruiting the line of scrimmage, getting these guys coached up. I'm not too worried about Michigan on the recruiting trail. I think there will be a lot of outside lookers saying, all right, only 6 commitments. We're going into the month of June. Is there something to be worried about? We kind of talked about this the other day. You look at Michigan and say, hey, we just hired a whole new coaching staff within the last couple of months. You got to give these guys time to foster the relationships that they need to on the high school recruiting trail. A lot of these other programs that have 15 plus commitments, they've had coaching staffs recruiting these guys for the last 2 cycles, or 2 years, I should say. Michigan, it's a late start for this coaching staff, but you're seeing them ramp it up on the recruiting trail. Really, really fired up about Jaylen Williams, a guy that has a ton of upside within this Michigan program. We'll cut it there. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.